Everybody, Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze here. This is part 2, just like we mentioned while we recorded in the store. This is part 2 in the Dynamic Discs Emporia store. And I wanted to kind of, while I got you here, I wanted to kind of let you guys know that we still have some Disc Golf Answer Man shirts available at dynamicdiscs.com. And if you guys have ever gotten any value out of our show, I would appreciate it. It would mean the world to me if you went out to the dynamicdiscs.com store, picked yourself up a Disc Golf Answer Man t-shirt, and when you do, post a picture on Facebook or Instagram and tag myself, Eric, or Robert in it so we can check it out. So we really appreciate the support, you guys. It really means a lot to us when you pick up those shirts, and hopefully pretty soon we'll be having some new Disc Golf Answer Man stamp molds for you, some new discs out there for you. Okay, guys, here's part 2. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
Oh, that was a new one.
You like that one?
Is this part 2? Like, are these going to be together or separate?
No, this is going to be separate. So part 2. So hopefully you've caught the first part. We are out at the Dynamic Discs Emporia store, as we mentioned in part 1. And we're interviewing players. We're answering questions, just having a great time out here during our little signature session here in the Emporia store. We actually have, I recognize Miles over here. We're going to get him on the show to interview him if he wants to have a seat. Is that okay if we talk to you for a little bit? Miles, come on over.
Come on in.
So, tell us where you're from, Miles.
I'm from Gray, Maine.
And how long have you been playing disc golf?
This September will be 3 years.
3 years. Mm-hmm. Tell us some of the things you've learned since starting playing disc golf and helping improve your form and stuff like that.
Well, like what discs do and like wins and stuff.
Yeah. What's been your favorite part about Junior Worlds here in Emporia so far?
All the awesome courses. They're awesome. Like, they're really fun to play.
You got a favorite one so far?
Probably Hammond Park.
Hammond Park? Why do you like that so much?
It's a lot of aceable holes and short holes.
Yeah. How did your round go this morning?
Not so good, but I think I'll do good tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah, that's nice. Good. Good to hear. Good to hear. Did you get to do any of the zoo stuff or the video game stuff?
Yep.
That was fun?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for sitting down with us, and we wish you the best of luck on your rounds for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Good stuff from Miles here. All right. We're going to...
Here you go, Miles.
Yeah, buddy.
Jump back into the questions. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Here we go. We're going to go to the questions. Let's jump back to a question. This one's from Evan. Do discs go farther at higher elevation, or because of lack of air, do they not glide as much?
Disco?
Disco.
That's what it sounded like you said.
Disco.
Do discs go?
Typically, at higher elevation, the discs are going to be quite a bit more overstable.
Yes.
As far as go further, I mean, I wouldn't. Maybe if you're throwing downhill,
maybe
down mountain.
Yeah, I haven't noticed a great difference in distance, but you do notice a difference in stability.
And you know, somebody told me that the first time I went and played mountain golf, that you're going to be throwing your roller as your straight flying disc, and I'm like, no way,
no, get out of here.
There's no way, and absolutely, that is so true. It's crazy. But as far as getting more distance, I wouldn't think so. I haven't noticed that, but you absolutely do notice the more overstable that all of your discs are.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Next question comes from Justin from Arkansas. Thanks for all the advice offered on here. Played my first tournament and had a blast. The first card I played with was awesome, and we encouraged everyone on the card during the entire round. Things changed the second round, though. Started string some birdies together, then missed the putt from about 15 feet. It hit the top of the change, fell vertically in the basket, and bounced out.
Ooh.
Is it okay to laugh at and bring that missed putt up the rest of the round? Also, what is the worst putt you've missed? So this is kind of along the lines of tournament etiquette.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of when we had poker night.
Uh-oh.
And I was talking about, what was I? I was talking about the cards. We're talking about something, and somebody interrupted me and said, you're not supposed to talk about that stuff during that round or that
Sure.
hand.
Sure.
Is that kind of the same thing? You're not supposed to talk about your play during a round?
It's a little bit.
to an
Poker's
extent.
different
Yeah.
in that, but we won't go into that.
No, we won't go into poker regulations.
So was it cool for him to talk about how his putt during the round? Or does that kind of...
It's his putt. I mean, I don't know if it's uncool to talk about it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it is just nervous energy trying to get
Yeah.
out. People that's kind of what they go to is, oh, this happened to me kind of thing. I don't think it's bad by any means. Now, if that's all you do is talk about yourself the entire time, that gets a little annoying maybe at times.
Yes.
But if you're just talking about like something that happened, a putt that you had to spit out. Now, I wouldn't tell like if Robert and I are playing a match or something like that for money.
Right.
And I wouldn't walk up to him and said, "Oh, dude, I had that exact same putt and I spit out right before he putted." That's kind of
That would be hateful.
Yeah. You don't really want to. I'm going to try that now.
Yeah. Please do.
But no, something like that you don't really want to do. But talking about your rounds is fine as long as like the rest of the group is also sharing.
Yeah, like we're all on the same page about it.
Yeah.
For me, I don't like to bring putts like that up, like the worst spits that I've had or whatever, or super unlucky stuff, because it makes you dwell on something that already happened.
Makes you think of the negative.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what's happening now, like this upcoming shot. That's what I'm dwelling on. So, in general, I don't like to talk about it. I don't think it's like bad etiquette to talk about it, but after a couple of chuckles or whatever, it might be good to let it go.
Yeah.
He also said, "What's the worst putt we've ever had or whatever?" My first tournament putt is one of the ones that I remember being really terrible. I was super duper nervous. It was you really had to throw a forehand off the tee, and I didn't have a good forehand, but I just threw one anyway and got to like 12 feet, and I was stoked. It was my first tournament, and as I said earlier, I was like, I'm the best in the game. I'm for sure going to beat everybody. I didn't really think that, but I was like, yeah, this is easy. And from 12 feet, I promise I missed the basket to the right by like 3 feet. It was one of the worst misses I've ever had. I almost missed the comeback from 12 feet, like there.
Would you have just left?
Yeah, that would have been the end.
Straight off.
That would have been the end.
Your tournament career was one.
And then I may have never been on Disc Golf Answer Man.
Hey,
what a tragedy or a blessing, depending on how you look at it.
It's true. It's true.
All right, we have with us to sat down Miss Paige Bjerkes.
Hello.
How are you doing, Paige?
Great. How are you doing?
Now, you're here working at the store, but you just got back from doing some disc golfing, touring. That's the word I was looking for. Tell us a little about the different courses you played and how it's been out there on the road.
It's been so awesome. Played a lot of different courses. I played 8 tournaments in a row and a lot of different varieties, some wide open, some tunnels, some, tons of OBs, no OB, all over the place. And it was amazing. Played well. I had fun. And it's cool to see, I play a lot of these tournaments, and it's cool to see the little changes each year that goes on in each tournament to see it get better and better.
Okay. So. Now, I know while you're here in Emporia, you play, tournament rounds here and stuff like that at the weekly minis and stuff like that. But what's it like going on the big stage competing? You've got some of the top pros out there and stuff like that you're competing with. What's that like?
Oh, it's so different. I play so much better when I'm playing at big tournaments or with any, with good competition. And I'm not sure why, but it's just, I look at it so differently. Mini and Emporia is fun because I usually get to play with my dad or someone that's a lot more relaxed. And I'm a little competitive, but stepping onto a course, knowing that there's money on the line, knowing there's people watching, knowing that I need to prove myself and that I can play well, it's so different. So I attack it, differently. I approach holes differently. I try to be, smarter. Sometimes I'm more aggressive, but, just depends on the course.
All right, so we are here in Emporia at the Junior World Champion. Of course, you are a Junior World Champion yourself. Yes. What year was that?
2010.
Yes, last year? No.
Good year.
Good year, because Eric won his world title.
2010. And so remind me what division it was?
Junior girls 16 and under.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Talk to us. Tell us what's going on through the juniors' heads that you went through, things that went through your mind as you were playing toward winning a world championship.
Honestly, it wasn't very competitive at the time. I was rated 100 points higher than the other girls. Okay. So, I didn't really have that focus and everything. And I just tried to have fun, and I actually had a 975 rated round as a 13-year-old girl. Like,
That's
I don't know
awesome.
what it was. I guess I was just really relaxed and was having fun, and it was pretty cool. But
I was there, and she was jamming putts. Like, straight up, I've never seen anybody putt like this in my life. And she was just jamming putts from everywhere during that
Was
final
that the
night.
year I was there as well?
Yeah.
When we actually
Remember we took
put
the
on
RV and right before the trailer got,
Yes.
And then, we all went out in the RV.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, you filmed it.
yeah, there's video of me.
Yeah, no, that was. I remember
super
thinking,
cool.
good Lord, this girl is good. And that's even when we put you on the team, right? Didn't we? We handed you a shirt and everything and congratulated
The water bottle, Liz handed it to me.
Congratulations, this is what you receive.
Yeah, this is all you get.
It was such a cool moment.
Oh, thank you, Jackie, for bringing Paige a little iced coffee. So super excitement, a lot of excitement going on here at Junior World Champion. What advice would you give these juniors? I mean, we've only got some of them are done for the day. We've got two semis and final round tomorrow. What advice would you give them?
Oh, I don't know. Just stick to your game plan. You might have a couple strokes. You might be winning by a couple strokes, you might be back by a couple strokes, but stick to your game plan. It's what you've practiced, it's what you've been, thought about. You've thought about each of your shots, and I would just say stick with it.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Cool. All right, we'll let you get back to work.
I don't want to go back to work.
If you guys ever ordered from the store and you ever see the name Paige on your packing slip, this is who did it. Who packaged it for
And
you.
if I made a mistake, it was Paige Pierce. Not
It was,
me.
that's right. There you go. You heard it here. There we go. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to get back to the questions here.
It was Paige Pierce.
That was good. Let's see. Someone has a question about bag. Maybe we need Jeremy for this one.
Jeremy.
I was curious where's he at? Jeremy. Is he wrangling up Starlin over there? Starlin's barking in the background. I was curious if Dynamic Discs Commander bags that were given out at the tournament will ever be for sale. I've been looking forward to upgrade to a bigger bag. Saw this on Instagram and absolutely love it. Love the podcast. Thanks. Oh my gosh, Starlin's going crazy. Starlin's got the zoomies. I wish we had a camera for that.
Yeah, those toonie bags were super awesome, super cool. Those will not be available in the United States, to the best of my knowledge. I would recommend reaching out to Yuha Quito with Natural Born Disc Golfer and seeing if he has any left that he can send your way.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, cool pattern, super cool event, great bag. You should get it.
I believe it's the Toonie Open. If we're
don't ruin his.
If we're going to use the correct terminology here.
Brain of an elephant.
Open. The Teeny Open.
Teeny open.
All right, so we got a few questions here on YouTube. Let's see if we can get some of those taken care of. Let's go back. How many years before Zach Arlinghouse regularly beats EMAC?
Ooh.
Years or months?
Yeah,
I was going to say,
Let's be honest.
Could it be
here.
this year?
Let's be honest here. This kid is, this was really the first week I got to go out and actually watch him play. And I am blown away by him. I mean, I can relate to his game quite a bit because he's kind of a smaller frame person like myself.
Yeah.
And the kid mashes. And he just jams putts. Not like a little loft putter. Just full-on spin, jam putts. And I'm excited to see his future. All those juniors, all those kids on that top card today, it's just so much fun to watch.
Yeah, we've got the two front runners in the 15 and under division right now, Isaiah Esquivel and Zach Arlinghouse, and both their games are different, and it's really fun to watch them manage the course together, like on the same card.
Yep, absolutely.
They're both killer, man. Super good.
Kenny asked, what was everyone's job before disc golf? Well, Eric should be easy because
school.
Disc golf.
Yeah, it was school and then disc.
Yeah.
Now when you were touring, you had some jobs here and there.
Side jobs.
Tell us some of the jobs you've had.
Full on tour. I had some interesting jobs. Woo. Let's see. I worked at the Walmart distribution center. I was a forklift driver for a year. I worked at McKinsey Pest Control. I was a technician, I guess you would say. I used to kill bugs for a living.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that. That's all that I can really think of, as far as full-on jobs that I had, and finally I just decided, you know what, let's try this disc golf thing out, and hit the road when I was probably 22, 23 years old, and just said, let's do this.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
What about you, Robert? What was your job before disc golf?
I had lots of jobs before disc golf. The one most recently before is I was a worship pastor and a campus pastor at the church that we were.
Did you say worship?
Worship.
A Westside Disc worship pastor?
Worship pastor. No, worship pastor. At the church that we were at in Austin. And then before that, as a middle school minister at that church as well. Then before that, I worked at the university that I went to as a recruiter. And then I had a couple of random jobs, like I waited tables at Outback Steakhouse. I sold appliances and fitness equipment at Sears.
Did you speak an Australian accent?
Exclusively.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm from Australia, mate.
Hello, mate.
It's kind of like when you're trying to do our Finnish accents.
Yes.
They always come out Italian.
Yes. Yeah. Masadi. Anyway, yeah. I had a lot of jobs before this, but directly before this, I was working at that church in Austin.
I was right before disc golf. I worked at a credit union. I was a IT help desk support, and before that, I worked in member services. Before that, I worked at the Buckle. I was a manager at the Buckle, and that was one of the coolest jobs I ever had. Then, of course, before that was the Marine Corps. And then I worked at, of course, you all know the story. I worked at a strip club as a bouncer. And at a dance club,
or the other stores that we saw in Finland.
Lots of purper. So anyway, what were we talking about? So anyway,
do we have other questions or
yeah?
Is it getting hot in here?
What's your best run-up approaches without foot faulting? A lot of times I'll focus more on my plant foot than my shot.
I think making sure that you work on your footwork before you have to plant it in a certain place is really important.
Yes.
Knowing what angle I'm going to throw kind of sets the footwork that I'm going to use. And I've practiced that enough to where I know where my foot's going to land, so I don't have to pay as much attention to it. But get your footwork uniform every time. Like you want your feet to be doing the same sort of thing, even if it's different directions. You want your feet to feel the same every time, so you don't have to think as much about them.
Right. One thing that I kind of do, it's kind of a trick I use, is don't mark my disc either if it's in the middle of a fairway. The only time I'm marking my disc is if I'm going to throw that disc again or if I'm putting.
Right.
But when you're in the middle of a fairway, it mentally it just gives you a bigger target to hit as well.
Yep. For sure.
What was that? Oh, you guys are done answering. Let's see. Next question.
You guys are done. Okay.
Oh, you done with that one?
Why is the Getaway getting more plastic choices than the Maverick? That's a good one for Jeremy. What say you, Jeremy Rusco?
Is it though? I mean, I guess with the
They're
hybrid,
about the same.
It has hybrid and.
Well, I think the Getaway is available in Biofusion right now, and the Maverick is not, so that might be part of that. And part of that just goes back to the Bio Getaway was released to support the Bowling Green Amateur Championships or the Amateur Championships at Bowling Green, however you say it. So that was maybe part of the Getaway getting a little bit more plastic choices from the get-go, and I don't even know what other plastics are available, but they're both amazing discs. I think both discs should be in almost every disc golfer's bag, and if you haven't tried one, you're missing out on lower scores because of it.
Yeah, even you, Macbeth. Could have been 19.
That shot on 3 would have stuck.
If that was a getaway.
Yeah.
Hey, but for real though, brief break. How about an 18 under on toboggan?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I've played there, and that's just stupid.
That's, just
amazing.
unreal. Yeah.
And awesome to see it on ESPN, too.
Yeah.
The
that
breakdown.
minute and a half
that was
segment
awesome.
or whatever.
That was
super duper cool. Obviously, Macbeth doesn't throw our discs, but got to give the guy props. Huge.
Not everyone's perfect.
Yeah. Huge.
Except his score.
I think that's a big success for disc golf too.
It absolutely is.
Getting that kind of exposure, and not a lot of times when we're on ESPN, the commentary is just kind of like jokey or something like that. And
He
this
did
was
use a lot of Shakespeare
that's true
quotes because of Macbeth.
That's right, but
at least it wasn't pointing at disc golf. It was
No,
just
yeah,
his name. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was
that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
So hats off to you, Macbeth. Well done.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think stuff like that's what's going to get more people, more kids, more people that see it to want to play disc golf. So super important for disc golf to actually be seen in more than one throw, one ace form on ESPN.
Yep.
Yes, Nathan, my head is shiny. Thank you for pointing that out.
powder.
Yes, we start. Yes, maybe I need a budget for some makeup for putting it on the powder.
Approved. Whatever you need, Bobby. I told you.
Remember we were at Yuha? Yuha Quito was on being interviewed at the
Yuha Quito.
What is it?
You said Quito.
He is a cutie.
You are cute though.
Anyway,
I screwed that up. I messed it up earlier.
He was being interviewed for on a TV show, and he had makeup on. I thought it was interesting. Anyway, let's move on. Cool one asked, question for Eric. We missed you at the Zielinski Masters at Lemon Lake. Are you playing Masters 2019 at Maple Hill?
I did miss you guys there too. And yes, I will be playing the 2019 Masters at Maple Hill. I just love Maple Hill. It's a lot of fun. And the Tim Zielinski Masters being there, it's going to be an awesome time. It's going to be tough competition too. I mean, it's just crazy how, every year the Masters division gets harder and harder.
Right.
It's pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to that one, and obviously looking forward to Masters Worlds here in, about a month? Just under a month. So up in Kansas City. So yeah.
Yeah, what are our plans for that, Jeremy, for Masters World?
We have an RV. It likes you driving it.
No, it doesn't.
It specifically does not like Bobby driving
I know that
it.
for a fact.
I know for a fact you don't party. You do not party.
Yeah, we absolutely will be at the Master World Championships, having Scott Reek be the tournament director there. We've had a close relationship with Scott for a long time, and we are the presenting sponsor of that World Championship, so we're super excited to be there. And yes, if it's not booked on your calendar, it was booked a long time ago.
Oh, it was, yes. It's on my calendar. Let's see. Next question comes from Greg. He asks, hey, Disc Golf Answer Man crew, I have two questions for you guys. The first is, how does the dome of a disc affect how they fly? Are flatter discs less stable than domey?
Not always.
Yeah, it depends on the disc.
It really does. Like if it's a fairway driver, the flatter ones tend to be like the Felon, for instance. There's a lot of really flat top Felons that are super overstable.
Right.
And the ones that came out with a little bit more dome, they kind of have a little bit straighter flight to them before they fade out. Go to mid-ranges. It seems like the more dome that they have, the more stable they are.
Right.
And I would say similar for high-speed drivers as well. So it just kind of varies on the mold, really, to be honest with you.
Right. For me, in drivers especially, I see it on flatter ones, they tend to have more lateral movement. So a little bit more turn and a little bit more fade, whereas ones with dome tend to be a little bit more consistent throughout the flight. That's why I like them, but they also feel good to me too.
Yeah, nothing better than a domey disc in my hand, for my personal opinion.
Yep.
Let's see. His second part is, what effect does increased spin have on flight? If you have two throws with everything being equal except spin speed, how would the flights differ? I know that increased airspeed causes a disc to be less stable, but I've been wondering whether spin speed adds to the effect. Thank you for all you guys do.
Spin it to win it.
Okay.
I think that's what somebody said one time. Yeah.
The price is right. You spin it.
That's right.
That's right.
A little yodeling man.
The more spin that a disc has on it, the more it wants to stay in the air, right? Because and that's what gets discs to glide. Because when we see discs slow down and spin, that's when they start fading out to the left. That's what's causing them to do that. So, the difference between the two would be one would fade out a lot more quickly than the other. One would go a little bit farther than the other, and that would be the one that was spinning faster.
Excellent. Let's move on to the next question. Why did it get quiet and calm all of a sudden?
Well, the second round for the day starts at 2:00.
Oh, that's true.
Photographer in the store here.
Yeah.
And so I would say that most of the junior players are getting warmed up out at the different courses, ready to go for their fifth round of the tournament.
Okay, so let's talk about this.
Why does Junior Worlds have 6 rounds?
6 rounds in a final 9.
Yeah, and Pro Worlds
pros only
4.
played 4. I'm sure this has been debated over and over, but let's get our opinion. I don't get it.
We'd have to ask the PDGA.
Would you?
This year, Pro Worlds is 5 rounds.
Oh, okay. So they did bring it.
I like having a couple more than 4.
I like 5 to 6 is good.
The sweet spot. Yeah.
And I think that because cream rises to the top. You know, after that many rounds of golf, you're going to get a true champion out of it. How many? Let's say every Worlds in the past was only 4 rounds. How many times would Climo have won? Would he have won?
Yeah, who knows?
12 times?
I wouldn't have won yours. Yeah,
I would not have won mine. So I don't know. It's up and down on what you actually do there, what your opinion is on it. But I'm with Robert. I think 5 to 6 rounds is what World should be, and a final. There has to be a final 9.
Yeah, an exhibition
every year
final 9.
There wasn't one
not
last
even
year,
exhibition.
right?
I mean, it needs to count.
Wasn't there only 4 rounds? No
4
finals.
rounds. That's it.
Yeah.
Why the final 9? Why is that?
So that everybody can watch the ending.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It get big galleries. Get people watching. It looks better on video. Bobby, you know that. Why are you asking me that?
I was on.
Why you know this?
Because obviously, it looks better with hundreds and hundreds of people down lining the fairways. Maybe if 1,000 people lining the fairways as opposed to just other. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Bobby, I have a question I saw on YouTube that I think is a good one for us.
Yes.
Cool one asked, disc question. The Discraft Comet is unique. Does Trilogy have a Comet type disc? Thank you. I think I hear people ask about this a lot, and the disc I'm going to say doesn't feel like a Comet at all, but I think it can do a lot of the things that a Comet does, and that's the Latitude 64 fuse. If you talk to...
It feels like a smaller one.
Yeah, a little bit. It doesn't have a bead like the Comet does, but if you talk to Tomas Ekstrom from Latitude 64, he's the disc designer, he'll say that the fuse is the best disc he ever made. And I watched him throw that.
Amazingly.
When we played a couple of practice rounds, and it's just money. Like super duper neutral, started on a line and it's going to hold that line. If you throw it right, if you throw it smoothly. So I think that's probably the closest thing I've seen to a Comet as far as flight goes. It doesn't feel the same, but the flight, I think, is pretty unique.
Yep.
Excellent. Question from Phil. Hey, guys, is it illegal to take a step towards the basket while putting when outside the circle if I release before my foot lands?
No.
And
it is not illegal.
There's no.
I mean, that's like go watch.
Right?
Yeah, go watch Ulibarri's step putt. His left foot is in front of the mini, and he lets the disc go before it hits the ground. Some people will argue that he doesn't, but
not always.
Yeah, in the heat of the moment, it's hard to tell without.
It is. It's impossible.
Yeah, piecing it out. But yeah, you can start your momentum forward. Your foot can even be on your other foot that's not behind the mini can be on the way to the ground as long as you let the disc go and your supporting point is behind the mini. You're good to go.
Yes.
Why do you suppose people point that out so much?
Point out the foot faults?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like
drama.
It seems like after every event, if one incident happens, all of a sudden my Facebook feed is just blown up with pictures and images, screenshots and stuff of Yuli or back when Ricky was. They were, the Ricky and the whole footfall thing on the tee pad. I mean,
and gotta have something to talk about.
I guess. I was just curious what your all thoughts were.
I think it's I can't stand it personally when people, because it's not,
you're not there and you're not on the card.
Yeah, and you don't understand. It's impossible to tell that at real time,
right? And
if it's a foot fault or not.
So if the players on the card don't call it, it might as well have not happened.
Yeah.
You can go back and look at video all you want to, but as long as it's the player's responsibility to enforce the rules. If Eric and I are playing together and I foot fault and he doesn't say anything, it might as well have not happened.
And there's no one there to second it, so
right,
doesn't matter.
Well, even if there was, they wouldn't because I've never foot faulted
except
once.
that one time.
I did,
and we did call it on you,
and I threw it in.
Yes,
and it ended up just being a birdie instead of an eagle. And
the
it was
fuse
stupid.
was a good answer. Someone said they got an ace with a fuse last Sunday, and someone says a recycled fuse.
Nice.
So Cool One says, I'll order a fuse.
Fuse it up.
Sweet.
Fuse it up, baby. All right, so we have another guest here. He's not a junior, as you can tell. But
I don't know. He looks awfully junior.
He's kind of a little guy.
Baby face.
Little guy.
Yeah.
So this is Brian Shintaku.
Yep, you kind of got it.
Kind of got it.
Tell me.
Shintaku.
Shintaku.
It's like your shin taco.
Taku.
Yeah, taco.
But we affectionately call him Taco here at Dynamic Discs. Introduce yourself, what you do here at Dynamic Discs.
So my name is Brian Shintaku. A lot of people call me
nice
Taco.
to meet you, Brian.
Hey guys.
Hey. What do people call you? No.
So my title here at Dynamic Discs is Team Manager, Westside Discs, Latitude 64, and Dynamic Discs.
Okay.
Robert's title was Team Manager of Dynamic Discs, so now he's
He
the
got
team
fired,
director.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, Robert. It's okay, though.
Later, guys.
Juices. So I moved here from California.
Yep.
And I knew Doug Bierkes from living in Colorado. And I was like, hey, Doug, man, is it cool if I mop some floors or whatever, try to get a job? And he's like, sure, you can come in. So got a job and worked real hard. And then I was able to find a position with the team manager spot, and here I am now.
So we've been asking some of the kids their disc golf story, but let's hear yours. How did you discover disc golf?
Okay, so I was about 12 years old, and I was at a summer camp that my mom used to drop me off at.
Yeah.
I had a single mom, so she worked all day. And at the summer camp, it was at a park that was behind a high school. And at the park, there was a 9-hole course. And I had no idea what this stuff was. I just saw these adult men, in my opinion, throwing these Frisbees like super far. So I was like, man, that looks awesome. And I actually watched somebody ace one time.
Really?
And I was like, whoa, that was the coolest thing ever. Because, you hear that sound, and there's something about the resonation of the chains that just, it clicks. And so I went out there with the whammo, and I tried to throw with the whammo because that's all I had. I didn't realize that there was actual discs. So throwing with the whammo just was not working out, because, I'm trying to throw really far, and these guys are, making it look easy. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm playing one day, and I find a stingray in the ditch of one of the holes.
Really?
And, I was just a kid, so I didn't think to oh, maybe there's a phone number or something that I can call this guy. This is back when there was rotodial,
right?
So, but I picked up the stingray and I tried throwing it backhand. Did the same thing that everybody else does on a first throw, just hyzered out. And I was like hyzering. So I was like, I don't know what to do. So I tried throwing a sidearm. Boom! It started going straight. Started getting a full flex pattern out of it. And that's when I really started enjoying the sport, because I was able to shape shots and get further down the fairway. So I played it casually for about 15 years.
Right.
And then realized after I had already joined the military, got out of the military, that they had tournaments and that there was leagues that you can play in and doubles matches. So I signed up for a tournament when I lived in San Angelo, Texas.
Yeah.
It was called
Crush on the Concho?
The Crush on the Concho. Thank you, Robert.
Got you.
That was my first tournament.
I wasn't there, but I played that tournament.
Yes. It's a really cool tournament. So anybody who lives in Texas and is in the West Texas part of Texas, it's a great tournament to go to.
Awesome.
I played rec. I took 8th place, and luckily enough, I cashed. And I got some discs, and there was a bunch of stuff in the players pack, and that was the coolest experience I've ever had. And there was night golf that they offered during one of the or a glow round that they offered, and I thought that was really cool because I'd never played disc golf at night. It's just that's hard enough during the day, let alone not see anything and throw. But I just immediately was hooked. There's something about it. All the people were really cool, accepting to any player basically that was out there. So I was really fortunate, and just kind of snowball effect from there.
That's awesome. So you're out here, being the team manager, you're following some of the kids out here from Latitude 64, Dynamic Discs. Do we have any kids from Westside?
Not here.
Nope.
Okay. What's it like watching these young guns out here?
I love it. I have a daughter that's 9, and I've been working with her to get her to a certain competitive level.
Right.
Excuse me.
It tears you up inside when you talk about
Yes. Proud father moment.
Right.
But it was really cool to go out the last few days and watch these kids, and they're just so good and so focused, and they're having fun. When I started playing, I didn't have any kids my age that were around, so it was a bunch of older, intimidating people.
Right.
So to see them being able to play with kids their age is such a cool experience, because that's something that I didn't get when I was a kid. And then my daughter, just seeing her play with her friends, I mean, it's amazing. There's a certain relationship there that they build, and they can remember each other from a whole year of because she played in Worlds last year. A whole year later, they're still friends, still have this connection. And but some of these kids are good.
Yeah.
They throw far and straight. And I was watching a kid earlier when I was following Kevin Jones, who's a Latitude 64 player, and he's in the 10 and under division.
Evan Jones.
Sorry.
Kevin Jones is a pro discus, and he throws really far too.
Sorry, Evan Jones. Sorry about that, Evan and Chris. But I was watching a kid on his card, and I don't think he missed a putt inside the circle.
Really?
It was pretty amazing, and this is a 10 and under division. And I'm just man, I wish I had that guy's putt, you know? So it's been really cool. And then, we have a couple of the older guys that are 18 and under, and these guys throw a mile. I mean, and they're just getting the full, 3-turn shots during the long distance. I videotaped some of that, and it was whoa. And they're throwing into headwinds, and it's still going 450 plus. So it was pretty impressive. I'm really loving it, though. This is, I feel the juniors are going to be the future for the sport. Amateurs and juniors, that's where I feel that's where we need people to come in, because if it's not for them, they're the next generation of pro disc golfers.
Right.
So pretty soon, next 5 years, we're going to see a lot of these guys named, I think, on leaderboards, and they're just real good. So
your daughter's playing in the event.
Yes.
And you live here in Emporia, but what's kind of something you would tell people that are thinking, I should have been there and I'm going to be for 2019? What's some of the advice you want to give them as far as coming out to Emporia and playing in the event?
If not just to come out and see the area as far as all the disc golf courses and experience the Dynamic Disc retail store and the warehouse, just the fact that you can think of it as a vacation, because there's so much stuff to do outside of actually playing the rounds. After the rounds, there was the skate night and then the pinball and arcade stuff. I heard a lot of people had fun at the Shodio. So there's just a bunch of stuff. So if disc golf aside, you can still consider it a vacation, and it's a really good time. Like, that's how I consider disc golf tournaments that I play. I'm like, this is my vacation.
Right.
Because I can still enjoy it. And, there's competitive side, but you also get the fun side. Mm-hmm. So I think just thinking of it as something that you can enjoy as a family. Even though we do live in town, I still feel like this week is like a really fun week for my family. Yeah. My littlest daughter's been out. I have a 4-year-old as well, and she comes out and she just loves seeing all the other kids that are out and about, and and it's kind of getting her into playing disc golf. So she told me like a month ago, she's like, I hate disc golf, Daddy. I was like, oh no, Lily, right? I'm like,
find a new place to live.
I know. I was like, you are disowned from this point forward. But no, she actually picked up a few discs the other day, and she's starting to hammer them, because Haley was practicing.
Right.
So Starlet here smells my dog, so I'm checking it out.
Well, that's awesome. Well,
it's been, the week would be great for anybody to come out. So all the parents out there that are thinking about taking their kids, I feel like it's totally worth the investment, and it's, if anything, you're going to have memories that your kids will cherish and remember the rest of their life.
That's awesome.
That'll be great.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Brian. We'll let you get back to getting out there and watching and I can't imagine, what's your 4-year-old's name again?
Lily.
I can't imagine her not having a good time no matter where she's at.
Yeah.
True.
She has a great time no matter where she's at, so that's awesome.
Yeah, she saw Hannah Leatherman a few minutes ago, and she was like, Daddy, can I go say hi to Hannah? And I was like, of course, go.
Sure, man.
She's like, I'll see you at the party, because the block party's in a few hours, so it's going to be fun. So
that's awesome.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Taco.
Yeah. A lot of people have been dubbing this as the Disc Golf Disneyland because of the Glass One Open, and now for the kids, for the Junior Worlds for sure. Eric, I know you had mentioned, I don't know if this is a good time.
I think so.
Eric McCabe wants to get out and watch Isaiah. He's, of course, Isaiah
and Zach. Both of them are on the same card.
Both on Team Dynamic Discs, and I know Eric enjoys encouraging the kids out there while they play, so we'll give him an official see you later.
I enjoyed chastising the kids while they play.
Right, Robert is the complete opposite.
That was not a good shot.
What were you thinking? I heard you say that to him. I'm like, dude, that's not cool, man.
That's not cool.
That's not cool.
Yeah, sorry.
So
if I walk up on your card, it's trouble.
You better run the other way.
We'll let Eric
thanks, guys.
Head out there, and thanks for Eric for being on the show for sure. We'll answer a few more questions and then wrap up the show here. What do we got? This one is from Zach. I throw 50-50 forehand backhand. I find my forehand much easier to hit gaps with, but I throw all of my forehands flat and fairly low, so the only variance in shot shape will come from disc selection. For some reason, I can't comfortably throw with hyzer and hyzer release angles. What is the most consistent way to adjust the angle of release on a forehand shot? And should I use the wrist? Or is it better to keep my wrist straight and bend my elbow? Or is it something else entirely?
So when you're working on adjusting angles on a forehand, and if you're not watching on video, you won't be able to see this, but there's kind of a few places where you can adjust angles. You can change your wrist angle, which is, I don't know, I think that's kind of hit and miss. You can change your elbow and arm angle, and then you can change your torso angle, right? And if I'm working on throwing a forehand on hyzer, you want to make sure that you're dipped over enough so that your arm is so that your hand is going to be below your elbow when it comes through. That's going to promote a hyzer release. Same thing with an anhyzer. You want to make sure that your body is high up enough so that your hand is over your elbow so that you can promote that angle. So when you are working on angles, those are the 3 points that you want to work on: your wrist, your elbow, and then your torso and hips.
Excellent. I agree with all of those.
All right, because you throw a lot of forehands.
Because I throw a lot. No,
dude. Hey, but speaking of, in Sweden, you threw a bunch of really good get out of trouble forehands.
Do you know what? I don't know why it clicked, but it was I don't remember where we were at, but Ricky was doing one of the clinics in Finland, and when he said, I don't know how to explain it, but in my mind, he said that you've got to, a lot of it is in the wrist. And if you're not really popping that wrist or flicking that, then you're just going to have wobble.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know why all of a sudden I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you got to give it a little juice.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I've seen people throw and all that, but when I started doing that, I think it helped it a little bit, give it a little more
you
control.
threw some good ones.
Absolutely. All right, so we are here at the store, and we have another juniors that we're going to interview for the store. So let's get to know who we have here. What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Virginia Polkinghorn.
And where are you from?
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Awesome. And how did your round go today?
It went okay. A little rough around the edges.
Yeah? So how has your whole experience been here playing Junior Worlds?
It was good. I like the 18 holes. I am glad that they are doing 9 and 9. That's it's good to practice before those, though.
Yeah.
It takes me like 5 or 4 holes to get warmed up.
How long have you been playing disc golf?
About 3 years seriously, and probably my whole life if it wasn't serious. I've been playing my whole life, but when I went into PDGA, it was about 3 years ago.
So you say your whole life. I forgot to ask, how old are you?
I am 9, and I'm going to be 10 in August, so close.
Playing all those years, what advice would you give a little kid that's thinking about playing disc golf?
I'd say don't focus on giving the 2s or 3s. Focus on what you can get. Don't focus on what you can't.
That's awesome. That's great advice. What's your game mode?
Virginia is leading the junior girls 10 and under division by 32 throws right now.
Whoa, you're in the lead by 32 strokes. That's awesome.
Hey, she's pretty good. You may not have heard of her before, but you will. Virginia can play. I know who she is.
That's awesome. So what advice or what tips can you give to people that want to be in the lead like you are?
I'd say don't let the game mess with your head like it did for me. Something will get in my head and it just destroys my game, or I'll think I've had a terrible game when I shot like a 27. For the last couple rounds, I've been thinking, oh, that was such a terrible round when I got like a 32. I get in my own head because of that one shot that I threw and shanked it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. Don't think about your last shot. You need to focus on the shot you're throwing as of that time that you're thinking about it. Don't focus on the last or the next.
That is excellent advice, and probably we need to have some of our pro players listening to this advice.
Yeah, no joke.
For sure. That's awesome stuff. So you're going in with a pretty comfortable lead tomorrow. You're just going to go out there and have a good time?
Hopefully. I'm going to try to stay on the positive and not focus on the negative. Not focus on my score, just focus on getting 3s.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Virginia. That was awesome.
That's awesome. Good job, Virginia.
She's super good.
So, some very good advice from Virginia that all of us need to follow while we're out there on the disc golf course. All right, let's take one more question. This is from Clint. What are your favorite?
That's more of a Eric question.
More of an Eric question. We'll save that one for Eric. This one's from Martin. Hello. When people talk about how far they throw, do they mean the distance the disc travels all through a hyzer/anhyzer, following the disc all through its curve on the flight, or just the straight point A to B point distance? Golf shot. A to B. What did I say?
I said B to A.
Oh.
I'm saying A to B. That's what they.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Okay. So what's the answer?
That's the answer.
That's it?
No, I think what they're saying is she's under the table here, Wendy. Yeah, when people are talking about how far they throw on the internet, it's not combined distance with all the stuff. It's just like, I'm standing here, my disc landed here, that's how far I throw. Now, because we know it's the internet and there is such thing as
internet
distance.
He says, because I have a hard time understanding how so many amateurs claim they can throw 500 plus feet while I max out at perhaps 350.
The honest to goodness truth is that some amateurs can throw way farther than professionals. That's just how it goes.
Could it be that, like, I guess I'm thinking for me, I don't like, I always ask when I play with Robert and Eric, I always say, how far do you think that is? Because I'm terrible at distance, of knowing a distance and judging a distance.
It could be that they're guessing poorly.
Right. It's just a poor guess. And it sounds better to say 500.
Definitely. The thing is that people don't understand, especially when they talk about internet distance, is like 500 feet is so much farther than you think it is. So is 400. What
about 600?
Well, okay. Well, obviously that's far. But I mean, people say, oh yeah, I throw my golf shots about 400 feet. I don't think people understand really how long that is. I think they see a hole at their course that's 380 feet and it's slightly downhill and they got past it once. And so they'll say, I throw 400 feet. No. That's something entirely different, right? So how some of them can throw farther is that they've got a lot of power and a lot of speed that they create. But the reason that they're amateurs is that sometimes they're not as proficient in other parts of their game, right? So until I play with somebody, I don't really give a lot of credence to what I read about them on the internet. Then I'll go play with like Silas Schultz is here. He's from Louisiana. They're from Louisiana, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Baton Rouge.
And I hear how far he throws from people, and then I watch him throw, and it's like, wow, that was a 500-foot shot. I watched that come out. So yeah, I mean, people can do that. They've got the form thing figured out. That's just how it is.
Excellent. All right, guys, we're going to end the show with that question because our battery is getting low on our...
And because Starlin's about to leave with Wendy.
Starlin's...
That means the show's over.
The show's over. Starlin's out. So we're going to end that here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on the audio portion. Thank you for putting up with us being here at the store and all the store audio noise in the background. And, of course, you guys on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. It's been a fun time. We should be. And, of course, thanks to Starlin for the entertainment.
And trying to eat my sandwich.
And trying to eat the sandwich. So I'm actually kind of hungry, so I may go get a sandwich myself. But we're going to end here. We'll be back on a regularly scheduled podcast starting next week, right? Next Tuesday. We'll be going live here on YouTube and, of course, on iTunes and wherever you download the podcast. We'll be back on a regular schedule, and it should be good to go. We're going to go because Starlin's getting upset for some reason. So
thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you guys later.